All right, let's dive into something that's quietly reshaping our digital world, the EU Cybersecurity Act. It sounds complicated, I know, but stick with me, because this is all about making our connected lives a whole lot safer.
I mean, think about it. We're surrounded by smart devices, cloud services, all this amazing tech. But how can you be sure any of it is actually secure? When you buy a new gadget, do you really know if it's built to fend off a cyber attack? That's the exact problem the EU decided it had to tackle.
So before we get to the solution, you've got to understand just how messy things were before. Europe's digital market, it was a real patchwork.
Just imagine you're a company trying to sell a new smart device. You'd have to deal with 27 different countries, each with its own set of cybersecurity rules. It was a total nightmare. This patchwork created so much confusion for businesses, and more importantly, it left these huge, dangerous gaps in our security. So the goal was simple, but massive. Replace all that chaos with one single strong digital market. A market built on clarity and, most of all, trust.
So, how do you fix a problem that big? You don't just patch it up. You build a whole new framework from the ground up. And that's exactly what the EU Cybersecurity Act is. And this right here, this is its mission statement. It's not just about writing more rules. It's about building a foundation of real resilience and trust for the entire EU digital economy. And the Act does this with two main pillars. Let's break down the first one. Okay, so the first pillar isn't actually a rule or a law. It's an organization. Meet ENISA, the agency that's basically been put in charge of making all of this happen. So what exactly is ENISA?
Well, its full name is the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, and its official job is to be the EU's go-to hub for all things cyber. It's the central point for advice, for expertise, and for helping all the member states get on the same page and, raise their security game.
And what's really wild is just how much ENISA has on its plate. This isn't some quiet think tank. No, they're hands-on. They're helping countries roll out new policies, they're building up response teams, they're getting everyone to share information, they're pushing these new certification schemes, and they're even working to make regular citizens like you and me more aware of cybersecurity. It's a lot. So if you want a simple way to think about it, picture ENISA as the EU's Cybersecurity Command Center. It's the central brain, coordinating, advising, and building up defenses across all 27 member states. All right, that brings us to the second pillar of the Act. And this is where things get really practical for all of us. This is about creating a single trust label for technology that works everywhere in Europe.
At the core of this pillar is something called a European Cybersecurity Certification Scheme. Now that sounds technical, but just think of it as a unified rulebook. Instead of those 27 different national standards we talked about, there's now one EU-wide set of requirements that a product or service has to meet to get that stamp of approval, to be certified as secure.
But, not everything needs the same level of Fort Knox level security, right? I mean, your smart toaster doesn't need the same protection as, say, a hospital's patient data server. And that's where this idea of an assurance level comes into play. It's basically a grade, a label that tells you exactly how tough the security is and how rigorously it's been tested.
The framework sets up 3 clear levels of assurance. First, you have Basic. This is for everyday products, and it protects against the most common known risks. Then, you step it up to Substantial. This is designed to defend against attackers who have a bit more skill and resources. And finally, you have High Assurance. This is the top tier, for critical systems that need to withstand sophisticated, even state-of-the-art cyber attacks. And as you can guess, the testing gets way tougher as you go up the ladder.
So, you might be wondering, where do these rulebooks even come from? Well, the process is actually really transparent and collaborative. It all starts with a request from the European Commission or a group of member states. Then, ENISA gets to work drafting the new scheme, but, and this is key, that draft then goes out for a huge public consultation with experts, industry, everyone. Only after that feedback is taken on board does the European Commission give it the final green light, making it law across the entire EU.
Okay, we've been throwing the word threat around a lot, but what does the Act actually mean by a cyber threat? Well, the official definition is pretty broad. It's basically any potential event or action that could damage or disrupt our digital systems. But to bring that down to earth, just think about those annoying phishing emails trying to trick you into giving up your bank password, or that nasty malware that tries to infect your computer and hold your files for ransom. Those are the real-world cyber threats this whole system is built to fight against. Okay,
So we've got the agency, ENISA, and we've got this new certification framework. But let's bring it all home. What's the bottom line? What does this all actually mean for you, for me, and for businesses?
Well, here's the payoff. For us, as citizens, it means we can have way more trust that the apps, the gadgets, the services we use every day have actually been checked for security. For businesses, it's a game changer. One single digital trust label that's valid across the entire EU. No more navigating 27 different rulebooks. And for the EU as a whole, it means a more resilient, more secure, and way more competitive digital economy. It strengthens the whole shebang.
And that leaves us with a really big, fascinating question for the future. You know how other EU standards have kind of become the benchmark for the whole world? Well, could this certified cybersecure label become the new global trademark for trust in technology? That's something only time will tell.